Hello everybody, welcome to Live Scribbles with Jonathan. You can check out my website and my work at jonathanrector.com. Speaking of which, I totally forgot, but I have the website open right now so you can check it out. Just wanted to let you guys know of one thing that will be posted quite often on my website here is I'm calling it, it's really a sad name, but Weekly Juice. And the point of this is it's I post quite a bit of art on Facebook and Twitter and some social other places like DeviantArt, and not everybody goes to those websites. So, what I'm planning on doing, at least, is incorporating this into my website. Treat it more like a blog, that sort of thing. So if you guys are interested, you can head over to my website. I'm looking at doing the Weekly Juice stuff every Sunday to update my website. So you guys can check there if you guys just want to do like a quick scroll, sort of like an art blog, just so we can kind of go in there. Other than that, I wanted to say thank you to everybody that's on Patreon, that's supporting me through there. You guys are the best. And I shouldn't say it. I'll just leave it private for now. But yeah, so what are we doing today? Before I get into what we're doing today, what are you guys getting into today? What are you guys doing? Let me know in the chat. I'm really interested in hearing your guys' projects and stuff. There's people that show up during the pre-show, which is about a half hour or so before the show starts. And I'm just drawing, getting set up, just working at the kinks to make sure everything's good to go for you guys once the stream starts. But I asked a couple questions about projects and stuff, and I'm always interested in hearing what you guys are working on and how you guys are doing. I see a lot of familiar faces that always show up here, so thank you guys and you girls that do continually show up and show your support. I mean, it's awesome. It's starting to become exactly what I would like, that kind of community thing, and I honestly look forward to it every week. And I don't mean to kiss you guys, but you know, I'm doing this, you guys are here, so let's all have a good time. So, in saying all that, this show is for you guys and you girls. So if you guys have any comments, questions, you need help with anything, by all means, please ask it in the chat. I ask, if you can, to put it in all capitals. That way I can see it easily, and I can go from there. Just to, we like to talk. We like to talk on this show. And you might be kind of wondering why I'm in Photoshop right now. Well, the last few days I've been just looking over art books and stuff. I've been going back to the anatomy, trying to hit that back up. Just trying to sneak in, honestly, like 10 minutes a day. That's it. I barely, I'll sit down to start, and by the time I open the book and start drawing, 10 minutes is up, and it feels like all I drew was like an arm. But it's the mileage that we're going for here. I'm not trying to do, if I could, I'd do mass anatomy studies and look through comic books and do pacing and things like that. But in doing all that, I flipped through the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics again, and I have honestly fallen back into love with that book. And I've read it probably this year alone 5 times, front to back, multiple occasions. And there's always something that pulls me back to it. It's most likely due to the fact that it was the first book that I came across that showed me how possible it was to do digital art. Now, when you look at what I'm doing right here, let me turn on the other panel too, panel 1 as well. Let me turn that knockout layer off. Now, when you look at this, you might think, ugh, it's gross. It's just all flat lines. It's nothing. It's not manga studio style inking. Where if if you've been following me at all, you know the sort of inking that I like to do. And it's not like that at all. It's very ugh, is what I hear a lot of people say. Now, and I'm not trying to defend anything. I still highly recommend everybody own at least the DC Comics Guide book, because I think it's phenomenal in getting you started. There's things that I still have to get used to wrapping my head around, such as these lines. Look at all of the ugh. To me, it's gross. But over the last couple of weeks since I've been rereading this book, I've been really into Freddie E. Williams' art, and I've been just absorbing myself in all of his posts. I reached out to him on Twitter to ask him a couple questions if everything he's doing is still remotely the same as to what he was saying in the book, and he said yes, but I think he's using a little bit more texture brush now, which is good. It makes things look a little bit less, whatever. But the idea here, and I started to just see things in a different light while I was watching his videos and some of his art and stuff, but it's when you look at this art here, like even her breasts and stuff, like this is like, look how jaggy these lines are. Let me just zoom in here just so you guys can appreciate how brutal those lines are right here. Like, I've got a shaky hand, it's nasty. But when you start zooming out, the things start straightening out, and the book talks about this. You know, it's not whatever. What this method does is it makes you work in a production assembly line sort of way. I wouldn't recommend this, I guess, if you're doing like if you wanted to impress somebody with just line work and rendering. This might seem a little counterintuitive because it's not very, it's more like if you're working in markers, to be honest with you, and like micron pens. And the book talks about that too, where if you look at all the lines and stuff, everything's, actually I need to erase that one line, I'm just seeing something here, but everything's very flat and dead. And the reasoning behind that, again, is yes, it's supposed to mimic Freddie's workflow when he likes to work with micron pens and things, but it's actually one other thing that I'm not even aware if you brought it up, but it is for me, is that it's carefree art. Now what I mean by that is I'm putting in the important lines. The next step after that is putting this contour line, this thick outline around everything. And I know some people don't like putting outlines around things. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of doing that. And then leaving this file. So when I'm done, everything in this file is going to look like this. There's no real shadows or lighting or rendering or inking, really. Like, I wouldn't really consider this inking. I could just leave it like this, right? Like, I could have like a really awesome colors come on here, just knock it out. But once you leave it like this, and he works in batches, and I'm turning this into a digital DC Comics guide show right now. Totally didn't mean to. I'm just gushing over the book again. But you know, you do like 2 or 3 pages in a batch or something of just this sort of thing, and then you come back and you do the inks, and it's like that fresh eye thing. You're refreshed back into what's going on. But when it comes time to inking, all the lines, like her breast, I'm just using that as an example because that's where the most lines are, and like this all in here, once you go in and you actually start inking over top of it, you're using those lines as like a reference point, you know? So I got a separate layer on? Yeah, and you can draw over it in white. So, for example, let's just say the lights come from the top. I come in here and, you know, just punch that line up like this. Maybe bring some more variance in here and just break these up with some white. Bring the shadow back. You know, and it's very clean. It doesn't look that bad, you know, and I don't know, it's saving a lot of time. That's why I'm back in Photoshop. Plus, what we're probably going to be doing here, and I'm not sure how much of this you guys will actually enjoy, so I apologize. I have deadlines I have to hit here, but I'm going to be doing, let me just turn this layer off here so we can see, is these buildings. I might just do one of them just so you guys can see how I'm doing that. Freddie's actually got a video on YouTube. You can see that in action. Plus, you can, I think he has something you can buy. I'm actually considering buying it. It's a bunch of paths for building faces, so you don't ever have to draw background buildings. Plus, you can make some kick-ass buildings. And I know, yes, some people do like to draw backgrounds, which is fine, because you can always use this stuff as a template and draw over it. I find it faster, but again, the line quality of Manga Studio, obviously, in my opinion, is much more superior for comic book work. But that's not necessarily what we're talking about there. Let me just quickly scroll. I just want to make sure I'm not passing you guys by. Unsung is saying thanks for the recommendation. Awesome. Justin still needs to pick up a copy. Yeah, if you guys can even check out your local library, you'd be surprised. A lot of libraries actually carry it. And Lars had it for 2 years. He still hasn't read it. Yes, and like Unsung saying too, I don't really like this style of contour going over the inks. Highly recommend, or don't recommend. I understand it is what I should be saying here. I understand why some people wouldn't like thick outlines and stuff. You don't even need it, to be honest. But once the inks start going in there, actually, I'm going to punch up just one page before I show you the path and one other thing that I just figured out myself. I think there's actions in Manga Studio. And if there is, I'll probably end up going back there. I just haven't had the time to actually check in there. And I'll show you why an action is really cool. But first, I just want to open up the standard. You guys hopefully remember that. A really cool comic book that I got to work on. I don't know, issue 3 maybe. Let's go save for web so we don't kill the computer. So I'm just going to, and since I'm working in Photoshop, my voice might start getting silly. Like you'll hear me turning into a robot from time to time. Just let me know in the chat. I still got to get my bearings right again, because I remember there were certain times when we were doing this stream before, I couldn't talk while I was saving or opening things up and stuff. So okay, so this whole issue here was done in Photoshop, and I just want to show you guys, not that outlines matter or that these gross little, like, you know, lines look nasty. You just have to keep looking forward to like what the page will be, if that's an appropriate way of saying it. So let me just zoom in here so you can kind of see the lines are actually kind of getting muffled up here. Let me open up like a high resolution. I really don't want to open up the big stuff, but that's just disgusting. Inks. Was I a smart guy and saved any TIFFs? Of course not. This is like a stab in the dark. What? Okay, we open up what, page 1? Yeah, we'll do that. So this might take a little while, so I'll shut up. Okay. Okay, so somebody in the chat is saying, this is one thing I used to do when I was in Manga Studio heavily, if I could, is anytime I had to do a background that required a building, I would take the 5 to 20 minutes and just build a path face for it. And I'll show you guys that because we're going to jump into it. But since, let me just be quiet because I'm sure the audio is all over. Okay, so since I've gone to Manga Studio, I've never used face path because you can just make your perspective rulers and just jump in, right? So let's just zoom in here so we get some quality line work, so you guys can see what I consider quality. But like when you zoom in, like look at these guys, or let's look at this girl's face. Look at the jaggy lines. Like some of you guys might be like, you know, it's not that bad, dude. I'll agree. You know, like look at these lines all here. These are all 3 pixel lines, right? If we grab our 3 pixel brush, that's all this is. But as you start to zoom out, those lines become like you don't even really care necessarily, I guess. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is, like, once you start adding your inks to it, the stuff starts to gel a little bit. At least in my opinion, it does. You know, it's just quick stuff like this. And besides, most of us, if you are working on comics, mostly you'll probably end up going to color at some point. You might not. If you're working on your own stuff, you might go gray. But even gray, you can start to fill in a lot of this stuff. Anyway. I need to do some work here. Okay, so what was I going to say? Okay, so yeah, check this cool thing out. I was talking to Freddie, and by talking, I mean I sent him a tweet and he replied to it. He was talking about how his speed right now has slowed down because he's adding more detail in his work, which is awesome. But the thing that saves him a lot of time is this outline. Now to make this outline, all I've done, if you don't know about actions, I'm not going to go over them. Essentially, you just make a recording, and all the actions you take in Photoshop will save. So when you press a button, it'll do all those actions again. So if I drew a circle, put 2 dots on it, made a new layer, filled it with red, and stopped it, whenever I press that button, it would do that automation, which is one of the massive things about Photoshop that make it very cool. But this one thing, let me just start with this bad guy here. So I'll turn the contour layer off. So if you look at her, let me just turn all this stuff off here. So if you look at her, it's just 3 pixels. It's just a fine line on her. But what I would used to do is make a new layer and grab a thick brush, like 5 to 9 pixels, and just trace over it. And that actually took some time. But I made an action now where I select the wand tool. Let me just make sure her layer's there. Okay, so this is just her line art layer. All of her lines are on this layer. And all I do is I just not sample all layers, so it's just whatever's on this layer, and I click. Okay, now what you're looking to do, so make sure it's working. Yep, so when you make the selection, you don't want anything inside to be filled. You just want everything but the inside of these lines. Okay, so once I have that, this automation that I have is I'll press a button, an F key, and what it'll do is it'll make a brand new layer. It'll move that layer underneath the lines, fill it white, and then it'll put a stroke on it, and the stroke is the contour line. So watch, I'm just gonna press F4, and for some reason it always moves the folders all the way down here, but I just gotta move them up into the bad guy. Just put it under, and bang, there it is, it's done. And what's really slick, right, is I can just double click this stroke, and stroke in Photoshop just means outline, and I can make it as big as I want. You know, this, and what's really cool about doing contours, right, is this helps separate how close this object is to us, the viewer, as opposed to everything else in the scene. And if I wanted to, you know, I could just make it 3 pixels. I can make it 4, just make it a nice fine, like a thicker outline, so that when I get to inks, I'm good to go. I forget what I had. Let me just turn the other one on and delete this. But that's has sped up things actually a lot, because now I don't need to draw around everything. I just click a button. Like that's the thing where Photoshop is huge. Again, I hope Manga Studio has this. I haven't checked, so don't take my words for it. I'm not. You guys know I love Manga Studio. This isn't a, pardon my French here, this isn't a dick wagging contest of which software is better. Just keep playing around with what you like, and eventually you'll find something that you'll dig. Just see what you guys are saying. Yeah, if Manga Studio did paths, there'd be, I think, and actions. Actions are cool, but paths especially, I doubt I would even be using Photoshop. The action I have thickens up, yes, but I have other actions too. Like if I press F3, again, it's all talked about in that book. For me, it's just F keys that I'm assigning here. So for me, an F key will make a new layer on top of whatever I'm at. Make it light blue lines. Add a transparency to it. Add a brand new layer so I can draw. So watch, I'll press a button. Right away, everything went to blue lines. Obviously, she didn't get affected because of the way I clicked it. But you can keep doing this to just build things up. And just keep building things up until you get to something that you need to draw. I got one to flip the canvas, one to make a layer. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with this stuff. But anyway, let's make some building paths and hope Photoshop doesn't crash. So I'm just going to do, like I say, the one side, and then I'm going to go down to start this picture here where this chick's getting rocked right in the face. It's going to be awesome. Alright, so we got Freddy's perspective rulers. We don't need you. How did I assign an F key to an action? Okay, I'll actually just do one quick action with you guys that you guys could use today, which would be to turn your lines to blue and keep drawing over it. That's probably a simple way to do it, and it's actually really fun. Just let me open my buildings first here. Where do I have it? It's been so long since I've done this. I love this. This is so fun. And like I said, or actually I didn't say, I said it in the pre-show here, I've actually switched back to my Intuos over my Cintiq for this. Not because the control's better or anything like that, but I'm at the standing desk now, and it actually feels good. And just to talk about, does anybody in here do yoga? I just actually started that like a week ago, and just because I sit all the time at work, when I come home to do, you know, comic books, I just, the sitting I know is killing me. It's going to kill all of us, all that stuff, and I don't want to, that's such a lame way to die. Like, if I could die at my art desk, that's awesome, but I don't want to die at my art desk because I sat too much. Like, that just seems like that's a horrible way to go, man. That's like, you know, I know people have died to that stuff, but come on, there's got to be something better than that. So working out's cool, but I've heard so many good things from yoga, and it's one of those ones where it's like, I don't know, yoga's yoga. I don't even know what it is, like stretching and stuff. But buddy that I work with, he told me about, in passing conversation, DDP yoga, Diamond Dallas Page. He used to be a wrestler. Sounds wild stuff, but you know, there's a whole story about him recovering and stuff through this, and it's like the healing part of it. I thought it was interesting, so I've been giving that a shot. I can't recommend it enough. The feeling I get walking away from there is like calm, peaceful. My posture's getting better. I feel better. And now that I get to stand while I'm drawing, like my feet are starting to not as hurt as much. And the reason I'm talking about all this is because I get to use the Intuos, and my hands are just straight, and I get to draw. The control's not as awesome as like on a Cintiq, but until I can get a Cintiq that's comfortable where my arms don't have to bend, or just something, at least for now, I'm most likely going to get back to the Cintiq, but it's just, it's cool. It's a cool thing to do, and I'm interested in hearing, like, if any of you guys have any stand-up desks, or if you guys yoga, you guys do all that cool stuff. What do you guys do? What do you guys do? Okay, so this is my building paths here. What building we want to put here? Let's see what else we got. Some of these are like gothic. I don't want these gothic buildings. Bricks, fences, good. Superhero logos. Oh man, books, windows. Let's pick. It's like a classier looking building. I don't know. Really shouldn't have to take this long to pick. We'll go with this one. Sure, why not? So I think I can just click and drag in here. I just want to make sure that didn't disappear. Okay. So here's my path. It's in this file now, and I've got a whole big path library going up. I'm just going to Control T to transform, just to bring it back over here. And what I'm going to do is sort of, guess at the size of this thing. I know I don't want it to be this big because then the windows are huge, but I want these buildings to look like they're somewhat in the distance, so they got to be pretty tiny. I'm just going to resize it to about that, and I'm going to duplicate it. Control copy paste transform. Just sort of line it underneath, or as French people like to say, underneath. And hey Andrew, what's up, brother? Maybe we'll do copy paste transform. We're gonna go on the side here. We're just gonna transform one more time, just make it a little bigger. Alright, so this will be my master building here that I'm going to use. I'm just going to click on it. I'm going to drag it over here to duplicate it. That way I always have the size that I want underneath. Sorry if I'm picking on French people. I love that. I love that. Anything TH, at least Canadian French, it's like it just stops at the T underneath. Okay, so we're going to transform, and just so you guys can see what I'm kind of doing here, I'm trying to line this up at this one point at the top, and we're going to right click and click distort. Now this is where it gets real awesome. So I'm going to just drag it. I don't want these windows all the way to the bottom. I'd like to put like a couple doors or something. So maybe I just have to find the plane that this is on. And all these things are going to this red perspective point over here that we've already got. And you can see it happening already through the magic of digital. And you know when people always say like digital's cheating? I might give them this. This is pretty, I don't want to say it's greasy, but it's pretty like, I didn't draw this. I'm going to draw over it to make it look less like what I'm doing. But I guess pick your battles. So we got it there. Now the only thing we need to do next is I just need to make sure that I have, I'm on the right layer, which I'm not. Background layer, what do we got? Alright, so we're going to make a new layer to put this face on. And I like to just highlight everything again. Or actually, there's a button down here you can click. I should really get in the habit of doing this. Stroke path with brush, that's what we want. So, before I do that, I just need to make sure that I got the right brush, 3 pixels, which I do. And I'm just going to click that, bang. Watch this. So click off, boom, look at that. Now, it's going to take some work to get it looking juicy, but that's it. That's essentially it. So let's click the other side. We're going to make a duplicate on that guy. And we're going to do the same thing. Control transform. And we'll go there. And distort. And remember, this is that line that we followed, so it's still got to match up. I apologize. There's so many colors and lines going on right now. You guys, hopefully don't throw up. And just to talk really quickly about putting that contour line around the characters, why even put the white there, like how they're white? What that does is it actually knocks out anything behind them. So this background will never show so long as they have a white background. And what's cool is that means I can move these characters at any moment if I don't like the shot, or if I think, like, oh, this character needs to be standing up a little bit more. It's no problem. It's no problem. Alright, so that looks good. Let's try it. Stoke the jam. And sometimes the lines might get real dirty like that. Like it's getting thick. Like look at this. This is nasty. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back to the history, transform, and I'm just going to grab my brush, whatever the hell it is. Just gonna make it a little smaller, maybe 2 pixels. Check that out. See how that looks. It's not bad. Let's try 1 pixel. Jeez, nice and small here. Let's go back. That's better. At least now we can edit it, right? And I mean, like, so I'm going to do this not with you guys because this is boring as f-balls to watch. But I mean, like, there's I'm not doing anything, and these buildings are done. Like, all right, move on. You know, get back to the cool stuff, like people talking and fighting and stuff. I still have to spend some time to put some love into these because you can't just leave them like this. Nah, you could. Just do what you want. Just have fun with it. That's the whole point, right? We're gonna put a contour line over those buildings too, but like I still need to go in here and add this line here because it looks like everything's fading away for a second. I'll fix it. But like a door, you know, a door would probably be nice to get in here. If I turn the perspective off, you can probably see a little bit better. Turn the thumbnail there. What is that? What layer are you? There we go. So I mean, like this is basically kind of what it'll look like once I get to inking it. And it's not a lot of work. Honestly, it's not. And it's arguable if you like it. You might not like the style. That's cool. Do what you like. Okay, let's just go back and see what everybody's saying here. Lars is saying he likes the more traditional look, but this is alright. That's cool. That's cool. I forgot about you, Justin, did I? It's quite easy. Recorded the action, you just sign a keystroke. But then again, Justin, sorry. How do you do the F key thing? Oh yeah, no, I didn't do that yet. I was gonna do that next. But anyway, so that's the background stuff. Again, I'm not trying to promote anything. I'm just trying to recommend something that I think a lot of you guys will enjoy. If digital is something you're interested in and you have access to Photoshop, is the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics. To this day, I put it right up there, to be absolutely honest with you guys. Right up there with my Loomis books, my Bridgman books, all the kick-ass anatomy books that I could possibly recommend. That book jump-started my digital stuff. It made it seem possible, like I've said a bajillion times. That's why I keep recommending it. So if you can, hopefully it'll have the same effect for you. Now, let's get back to recording some stuff for you guys so you can see what the hell to do with F keys. Alright, so let me just kind of organize this here because it's getting into a hot mess. Let's turn these layers off. Alright, so I'm going to make a new layer. Alright, so I'm going to make one so that we can do blue lines. So I'm just going to show you really quickly the point of the blue lines, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? So when I go to design something, let's say we always like to draw heads, so we'll draw a head. Yeah, look how cool this is. Spider-Man looking up, real scraggly neck. Maybe got some giant eyes, who knows, right? You're like, yeah, okay, so I got my gesture in, like, okay, Spidey's looking good. He's perched on like a rock or something. Spider-Man's awesome. So now I'll just press the F key that I have, and it turns it blue, so I can still see it. And maybe now I'm going to start going in here and start, thinking, all right, let's start breaking in that anatomy. Let's start figuring this out. It's Spider-Man, so how crazy do you need to get with this anatomy? Who knows? Maybe want to start figuring out what the eyes are going to be. The neck. For some reason he's got a giraffe-style neck. It's alright, he's Spider-Man. He's allowed to do that. Right? And you're like, alright, yeah, like that. You just keep building up. And eventually you're going to get to a point where it's tight lines time. Right? And you want to go in there and you want to start going, alright, let's get some sweet lines in there. Yeah, look at those sweet lines. Yeah, we're gonna go around there. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at those lines. Jaggy and everything. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, alright, we're gonna get those lines in there. And you know what's cool too is the outside line. Like, look at that. You wanna talk about Vomit Town? Look at all that. Now, when we put a contour line over that, it'll help. But I mean, that's just bad art right there. Like, That line should have been done over, but that's okay. So you're going in there, you're like, yeah, all right, we got all these cool lines. Yeah, all right. I'm just going to use that other hotkey that I've made. Is it just F4? Command fill is not currently available. Oh! Well, isn't that weird? Maybe because I don't have a layer underneath it. I just want to try something. Oh, what are you talking about? Anyway, doesn't matter. So let's go over how to make this. Okay, so let me just go back a couple steps. Delete the layer mask, yes please. Delete, 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 yes, delete. Okay, so you guys ready? You guys ready for some actions awesomeness? Just so you know, right now we're about halfway into the show. So if you're watching the recorded version, just skip to look for around the half-hour mark, or this Spider-Man guy, because I don't want to repeat this too many times. But I'll try to go slow so you guys can kind of understand it. So let's do it. All right. So draw something. Draw like a scribbly head, something that you know you're going to build on. Okay. So you got that on a layer. The next thing you're going to do is go up to Window and I don't know. Oh, Actions. Actions. It's right at the top. For me, it's way over here. Okay. It's way over on the side. For you, it might actually show up on a window. Let me just actually bring it out so you guys can see what the hell is going on. So these are a bunch of the ones I already have. And I've actually got my own folder here, my comics actions. And I have this saved out, so if I have to format my computer or do anything like that, you know, I can always pull this back so I don't have to lose any information. Again, it's all, literally, it's all talked about in the DC Comics Guide. One of the best books ever. Okay, so what we're going to do is, now that I have this, what you're trying to do is record your next step of actions that you're going to do, and that's what you're trying to record, okay? So we're going to go down here at the bottom, and we're going to click like this new layer button, just like if you're making a layer to draw, and this pop-up's going to come up. It says new action, so name it something. So what I have mine labeled as is blue lines, so I'm going to put it all in capitals, blue lines. The set, that's, if you look over here on the right, there's your default actions that Photoshop comes with on default. Then there's also another one that you can make. I recommend making another one. You don't have to, but I like it. That way I get access to all my F keys. And it's specific for comics. If I have coloring, maybe I need some different hotkeys that I like to do. You know, there's different actions for everything, and that's one of the cool things about Photoshop. So I have my own comics actions, so we're going to click that. Now, your function key. Now, these are your F keys. That's it. So we're going to pick, what don't I have? F7. You can pick whatever, okay? Now, you can also do Shift and Control. So this means you can get like a bajillion of these, not a bajillion, but a lot of F keys, okay? So don't worry if you're running out. You can also put a color if you want. So I'm going to put blue just so that we can see it. And that's it. From here, you're going to hit record, okay? Record. Now, as you can see over here on the right, what it did is it made my new blue lines. It's also got a down arrow to show me what actions I'm taking for it to record, okay? If you also look down here, there's a record button that's actually on. It's to let you know it's recording. That's it, okay? So what I'm going to do is now record the steps that I want. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to make the blue, I'm going to turn my black lines blue, okay? So I need a new layer above this, a new adjustment layer. I believe you can go up to layer, new adjustment layer. There's a button on the right that I like to use. That's why I don't really know this. New, that's it, right there. So layer, go to layer, and then new adjustment layer. Okay. Once that's open, you're looking for hue saturation because we want to change the color of the line. So hue saturation, click that. All right. So this pop-up came up. I'm just going to hit OK. I don't care. You know it's working when obviously your hue saturation pop-up comes up, but if you look on the right, it's making that new hue saturation layer. That's what you want. So what we're going to do is you're going to click colorize, because colorize means it's going to change the color of the line. Black, black has the presence of all colors in it, so I could change this blue, pink, red. You're never going to see it because it's black. So when you click colorize, it'll start to tone it. I don't know if you can kind of see it there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jack the lightness up because I want this to be somewhat transparent, right? And the hue, you can change anything. You might like red lines, so make it red, make it pink, make it whatever the hell you want. I like to use the blue just because that's like the default sort of thing. Play with the saturation of how much blue you like and how dark you want it. You know, I recommend kind of going as high as you can. If I could do mine over, I'd probably bring the lightness up a bit. Okay, so that's it. And then you click OK. All right, remember, you're still recording. And if you look at the blue lines, it told you right there what you just did. You made an adjustment layer. Great, but we're not done yet. So now we need a layer to draw on. That's the juicy part. So you could just end it right here, and you could click this and make just this happen, and then manually click a new layer. But you know you're gonna have to draw over top of this, so just do it now. So to go up to Layer, New Layer, right at the top. You can label this stuff if you want. I don't, you know, it doesn't matter. Click OK, and it's gonna make a new layer right on top of everything. You can see right there, and that's it. And click Stop, and you've just made your first action thing. That's it, right? So just to give you an example, so let's start drawing. Right, you can still see it over here. Nothing's changed, right? So we can go in there and be like, oh yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's build up that skull. Yeah, baby, look at this. It's the best Spider-Man skull ever. He's got a cute little mouth. Oh, look at him. Oh, isn't he cute? Now he's turning into somebody else. I don't even know who this is anymore. Right? And you're like, all right, so now we go. So if you just look over there, blue lines F7. That's what I have it at. I'm just going to click it again. Bang. Did it again. There you go. Yeah, you can keep going. Bang. You can keep doing this as much as you want. And then, you know, just shut off the layers you don't want or just delete them. That's literally it. Don't forget to save it too. If there's like a little menu button up top here, you can go save. You can also, when you save it somewhere and then put that in the folder that you don't mind, or you hope that if you were to lose everything, you can back it up. That way you don't ever have to do this stuff, okay? So, hope you like it. Like I have stuff right here. I'll just quickly show you guys. I'm not going to actually do it, but I have one that turns it to blue like you guys just saw. I have one that flattens the image and saves it as a 72 DPI image so that I can, at any point, I just press an F key, it'll do all those things, and it's ready to save to send to like a client if they needed to see any stage development at all. One to flip the image horizontally to mirror it, like I talked to you guys about doing all the time. I have one for new layer, so I never have to click down here. I can just press a button, just convenient. Thicker lines, what it does is it just doubles it, so I'll show you here. So F5 here. So what it's doing is it's making a new layer on top of itself and then just merging it down. So if you zoom in here, I'll just show you so you can see right here. So F5. And what that's for is like building up contour lines. I rarely use that now that I have this other way of doing it. And then the knockout background is the one that I just made where it makes the new contour line. Just let me reset my workspace. There you go. And that's about it. So, yeah, man. Hey, oh, unsung. Okay. Let me just go back up there and check it out. Thanks, Alex. Yeah, I remember. Man, that lead would break all the time. And F keys does sound absolutely filthy. Okay, so it's the point at the show. Boom, bada, boom, bada, boom. We need like theme music for this, but for critiques. So we're opening up to critiques. If you guys had anything that you'd like critiqued, comic page, pinup, something, by all means, just post in the chat, and I'll grab one or two, and we'll just go over them to wrap the show up. And again, if you're coming into the show a little bit late, that's okay. This show is every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're in the chat right now, it started 45 minutes ago. Okay? And you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, all those places if you just wanted to keep up to date with all the good stuff. Okay, so we got this cat up here. We need to jump into this one. Just turn that layer off. Oops. Alright, let's make a new layer. So there you go, see? Put everything to black. Do more 2 hour. I wish I could. You know what's sad? What I've been doing lately, and I recommend you guys do it if you can. I talked about it. Is I go to bed at like 9 or 10 now. So when this show is done, I'm pretty much ready for bed, and I get up like nice bright. Well, I get up dark and early, like 4 or 5 in the morning, and sneak in 2 or 3 hours of working on comics before I have to go to work. It's awesome. It sucks. It's awesome because like the production is honestly skyrocketed. It sucks because it's early, man. I'm tired. This is the other cool thing. I think Manga Studio started to fix this. You can just hold Shift to make a straight line. That's pretty cool. So you do a lot of this stuff where you just shift clicking around. Shift click. It's good stuff. What else could I gush over this stuff? Oh, good job, Justin. I'm actually excited to see that, bud. I hope you're starting to get a hold of it a little bit, not letting it take over. Yeah, so I was thinking a little bit about like how this stuff looks in Photoshop as opposed to Manga Studio, and I'd still like my art better in Manga Studio, but what this does, working in Photoshop, at least for me, is like I said, the way that it forces you to really simplify things, at least in this stage, it's I don't know, it's working out big time for me to get like solid work done and turned around, getting more work done too. I don't know, might sound weird for some people. I get it. Alright, we can do silly stuff like this too. So we're gonna make a circle. I'm gonna fill it black, and I'm gonna transform and warp distort it first. So what I'm doing is I'm making the mouthpiece here more cheating digital. Right, like, does that look like it's in perspective? Yeah, alright, we're gonna warp it just a bit. It's kind of curving at us, so I'm gonna bring these lines in. Come on, I'm trying to click. Just to round it out a bit. Ooh, Tom Russ, just happy little accents. Just happy little accents. It looks good. And we're just gonna transform it again, just to move it over here. Now, let me just zoom out because it's starting to look a little funky. Actually, I think it's probably just. Yeah, I'll put it here. I'm gonna move it over. So once I have that selection, I can just like control click because it's the only one on the layer. I'm gonna select modify. I could go 3 pixels, just like it was my dead brush that I've been using. Just hit delete, and there you go. You got a brush. Like it depends what you're doing, right? Like freehanding this stuff, probably speedier. You know, I would think it could be, but it's all good. It's all good. I brought that side route way too much for some reason. Let's bring this back in here. Okay, let's save it up here. Okay, so Lars is saying, you don't have to critique it, I just want to share it, and I know you love the intros. Okay, sweet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to critique it anyway, just so we can wrap the show up so it's something. Nobody else is really sharing anything. Don't be shy, guys. Everybody has bad art, everybody has good art, all that good stuff. Okay, so paste and go, paste and go. Alright. Damn Instagram, you can't see these pictures. Well, I'll figure you out. We're gonna do the old print screen technique. Print screen. And I'll go file new. Pasty pasty. There it is. And select. Okay, I know there's a turtle there that I can't see. That's okay. Crop. Edit crop. God. Can I just not read it? Oh, image crop. Jeez. All right. Actually, I think no, I definitely have seen this. I saw this on Facebook. I think you posted it on there. So let's just see what everybody else is saying there. It's cool. People like it. Yeah, letters would be cool if you make it all black and maybe some lightning and rain. Maybe a Batman rainy effect. Yeah, I mean that would be definitely cool. I don't think he wants to lose his line art. I think when you're going in there thinking about like the Daredevil Batman, everything's raining and stuff, you're probably thinking about that from the outset. So this still looks like it's in the sketch stage, I'm assuming, because that hand is wonderful. There's gonna be something here we can critique. Actually, you know what we'll do? Because we've only got a few minutes left here, so I'm just gonna do a quick anatomy draw over here, just to make sure everything's lining up. We can stylize it a little bit here. I think this is an awesome picture, by the way, too. So one thing I could see right away that would help is this right here is very flat. His rope, or his rope, his belt thing. You could really push that perspective, just to have everything kind of coming at us like it looks like you're trying to do. You know, it's like very classical triangle Frank Frazetta composition. So that's where his abs would be. You got his pectorals, his peckies. A sweet shoulder coming up here. That beastie arm, that's sick. Tricep. Now, actually, so there might be like a little bit of distortion here from your camera. These hands I would really play up because they're actually at us quite a bit here. This sword would probably come at us like that. Same with his bow staff, Donatello's bow staff. You kind of have it coming down at us to come back up over his shoulder. I get smaller back here, and like these things, they're not falling right. They'd fall this way. Yeah, but I still love this. It's good stuff. Did a really good job on his mask too. You could still really push it back. Again, if you wanted to keep push his perspective, right here you could really just flare up the bottom parts. You know, you could kind of do what everybody's suggesting with the blackout up in here. I don't know if you need that though. It's kind of, you lose shredder. You lose them. Right, so we could have his belt kind of coming in that way. And this would really lend into really doing that old school style costume where all the fabric's getting pulled in one direction. He's got his sweet shoulder pads. So we can just kind of tilt them up here. I know you had like the dead turtles, I think, too. So I just want to play up that idea here. So let's just get that perspective. I want to really flare this stuff out. So I think it was just a shell, right, that you had? Oh, just pure meat. This guy's no joke. So you could probably even just put like turtle stuff everywhere. Anyway, I don't want to keep, you know, jazzing this up, but probably just keep pushing that stuff. But I don't know if you did or not. See, like, oh, you did. Okay, cool. So he's got Leo's sword, Mikey's nunchucks, the bow, and then the sai. Okay, and even the size too, right? See how it's kind of, again, it might just be the direction that you took the picture, where everything's kind of coming at us. And if that's the case, you know, what I'm doing here is I'm manipulating what you had from the picture that got taken. But if you wanted to bring motion in, everybody's saying like the cape, you could bring the cape, you know, kind of just to help round out the composition, I guess. Definitely do that. And then what's really cool is when you start bringing in these lines, right, like everything's getting the focus right on his face. That's where the focus should be, or it seems like it is. So even though like you got his hand here, you could still, you know, bring those claws to point it back at his face. The nunchucks, again, you could have one just dangling here and the other one just kind of pointing back. Stuff like that. The size will be more rounded. And then the only other thing too, probably, I don't know, you could bring Splinter into it somehow, or even if it's just the turtles, maybe do something with their bandanas. I think that'd be kind of cool. What would he do? Maybe like, I don't know, him like on his, like their shreds, or maybe he's got them hanging off his belt or something. That would be cool. Bring that scarf up a little bit. But I don't know, I'm just noodling at this point. So no, I think it was really cool. Put the sign on the other side of his hips so they get some silhouette. Yeah, you could totally do that too. That's a good point. It's like an old Batman technique where you could have this side here, and then this side you could just kind of put in black. Like you don't even need to do detail. And what I mean by the Batman technique, I forget where I heard this, but like you could have, let's just say Batman's belt is here, right? And he's got like one knee up, like Batman always does, because he's, you know, he's Batman. This is the weirdest pose ever. And then he's got that one in the background. You know, he's doing the detective thing. He's getting like ready to run or something. I don't know, but he's always got like all these, you know, belts and stuff, and pockets and pouches. Instead of just leaving them open like that, that's cool. But whatever side your lighting is on, let's just say the light's coming here, so you know, he's got his abs are all in shadow, and then the other side of him's all in shadow. What you can do is you can just start silhouetting this, but you get some really cool shapes that you can just throw in here like this. Like, what the hell am I putting in here? It's just stuff, right? But it looks cool, and that's the whole point. So I forget who said it in the chat. Just having that sort of silhouette, one of those nunchuck or one of those size, I think is a really good idea. It helps. It makes it just more interesting than what it is, and that's the cool stuff. See you, Justin. Actually, the bandana hanging on the pole in the background. Okay, cool. Oh, it looked too crowded? That makes sense. So we got 5 minutes left, so if anybody else wanted to jam in any image or anything like that real quick, we could just do a very quick one. Zelda. Your Momo cat. Hello. So let's close this. We don't need you open no more. You all right, so what I want to do is a shortcut to give this thing depth. So I'm just going to cut it, put it on its own layer where it should be anyway. Moved. Whoops. So we want it there. I'm just going to make a new layer and just move it to the perspective that it would be. So if we got, it's coming at us, probably see, how much would you see? It's underneath, sorry. So it's like that. Yeah, it's better. And then just erase the one side. There you go. Quick stuff, quick stuff. Talking about Batman, do you like the new Joker Capullo did? I love everything Capullo does. The newish Batman, where he was like the younger guy, I stopped reading then. I was reading, I took a little break off of it for a while, but I was reading when it first came out, like the new 52 Batman when it first came out. It was amazing. Greg Capullo is still one of my favorite artists. The Joker stuff, I don't really understand why his face is all ripped off. I'm not that into DC, so I'm not sure why he looks the way he does. But I just saw like a cover or something. I think it was him sitting on a throne, it looks like, and he's smiling and he's like looking up and he's squishing a bat in his hands. That's actually really slick. I thought that looked real cool. Capullo is definitely a master of composition and like leading your eye, for sure. Okay, well, that wraps it up, you guys. I really appreciate everybody that stopped by tonight. And if you're watching the recorded version, thank you so much. I appreciate all the support. If you guys wouldn't mind heading on over to patreon.com/Jonathan Rector, you can check out my stuff over there. And if you just wanted to pledge anything just to say thanks, hey, thank you for doing that. But there's also other pledges on there if there's something else you might want to check out, you might be interested in. I have a critique similar to what we do here, but it's a lot more personalized and a little bit more in-depth as well. And then there's an additional one-on-one session that we can have for an hour over Google Hangouts. You can see my screen, basically what you guys see me do here in the stream. And you know, if you want to have your webcam show your pretty face, or you just want to share your screen too, more than welcome to. We can go over anything you like: anatomy, your project, storytelling, just talk. I've had a lot where people just like to talk about the business or the comics, or just to talk and stuff. So that's cool. It's cool. It sounds more of like a therapy session, which it's not, but check it out. You might enjoy it. And if you do, thank you. Other than that, like I say, head on over to jonathanrector.com if you guys wanted to check anything over there. I also have that new section, like I said, that you can check out, the tutorials and video section. All of my videos that are on YouTube are cataloged on there, so if there's a specific topic you think you might need some help with, and I may have tackled it, just head on over there and check it out, and it'll link you right to the UpTubs. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until next week, until next week, keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll see you then. Bye.